What's up everyone, Chrono here, and today we're playing some more Avorion. Remember, if you enjoyed the video, please remember to hit that like button, and if you're new to the channel and want to keep up with what we're up to, please subscribe. Share the video with others if you think they'll enjoy it, and if you want to help improve and grow the channel, check out the link to my Patreon in the description of this video. So today I wanted to talk about something that's near and dear to the hearts of all space adventurers, and that is firepower. We always like our firepower because we like to shoot things with speed and convictions. Shoot all the things with speed and conviction, actually. So you can see since my last video I've done a lot of work to my ship. Quite a bit different looking than previously. And I've put quite a few turrets on it, and I've added some hangars. And I've learned quite a few things about the turrets since the last video, and I wanted to share what I've picked up along the way. So, again, our trusty Thunder Cougar Falcon Bird. Oh, there's a bug here that keeps you from seeing all the turrets, modules rather, on the ship, but we'll work around it. So, you can see I've got a bunch of turrets on my ship here. Now, when I first started, and I had my little bitty ship, I had a total of 3 turrets that I could use. And the first question on my mind after I figured out a little bit about the building was, this is great, but surely I have to be able to add some more firepower to this thing. Otherwise, I won't be able to survive. And at first I had no idea how to do that. Now some of you folks watching this video may already know how to, but for those who don't, I'll lay out how to do it, and for those that do, you may pick up a couple things along the way, or if I've missed something you can leave it in the comments, and hopefully that'll help others along the way as well. So the first thing that we need to understand is this set of statistics right over here for armed and unarmed turrets and total firepower. So what's armed versus unarmed turrets, you may ask? Armed turrets are basically offensive turrets, and unarmed can be offensive but not always. They are typically utility turrets. Armed turrets usually use munitions or do damage for the most part. Unarmed turrets, while some of them can be used offensively, they are usually, the ones that are used offensively are typically used to either assist you or help you get out of a bad situation. So let's figure out what these numbers mean. So we see 0 of 2, 1 plus 1 for armed turrets, and 0 of 2, 1 plus 1 for unarmed turrets. So your first number here for each one of these is the total number of that particular type of turret that you can have, and the second number is essentially the additional turrets in that category that you can have, kind of like a bonus turret if you want to think of it that way. So what that means is I can add 1 armed turret, and then I have 1 bonus turret that I can add. This number floats, the second number floats between both categories. So that +1 and that +1 right now that you see here effectively means I can have 1 bonus turret and it can go between either place. So you'll see once I add, let's just add a regular armed turret to the ship. Get my menu in the right spot here. Let's just take this cannon turret and watch what those numbers do. So I have 1 of 2 armed turrets, and this number hasn't changed yet. But if we add a second turret, look at that. So we lose the +1. This stays 1 plus 1 because we're using that bonus turret on armed turrets. So we now have 1 plus 0, which means we can only add 1 unarmed turret. And there we have 1 of 1. Great. So how do we blow stuff up faster, or destroy asteroids faster, or salvage ships and tear them apart faster? Well, we add modules. So if you pull up your ship's menu, ship's info system, you can see I have a lot of modules here. And I've been using these two exotic turret modules. You can see one adds +5 to armed turrets, and one adds +4 to all turrets. So watch these numbers here for armed turrets when I equip this module. And you can equip modules just by right-clicking them. You can see my base number for armed turrets goes up +5, reflecting the +5 here. But this plus all turrets will add to the second number. So that's going to take us from +1 on both sides to +5 on both sides. See? So that means I can have a total of 11 armed turrets if I go all armed turrets. But that would only leave me with one unarmed turret. But I could have a tremendous amount of firepower. So if you watch the numbers as we start popping turrets on, let's just throw you on, and you. I'm just throwing these on at random. These aren't the turrets that I use. And you can see those numbers going up. Double laser. Throw you right there. So you can see these numbers changing. I have 6 armed turrets now. And I have 0 of 6 unarmed turrets. So I could use the remaining bonus that I have to put all unarmed turrets on the ship if I want to, which would put me at 6 armed and 6 unarmed. Now on this ship I don't want to do that, and I'll explain why in just a few minutes. But this ship for me right now is primarily firepower and a little bit of utility as far as my turrets are concerned. So what I have been using, I've been using this turret, this cannon, and not that one, this cannon, this cannon. I like cannons if you can't tell. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cannons. I have been using 6. So 6 cannons. And then I usually just mix it up as to what other turrets I want. The other thing that we need to talk about is the quality of the materials that the turrets are comprised of. So you can see I have an iron plasma turret here. It does 7.2 damage and a fire rate of 3.9. Well, we can use that. But as you progress and you get to the stages of the game where you can get a particular type of material, you want to keep your ship as closely in line with that material as possible so that you can deal with the materials that you can mine and salvage, and you can contest the NPCs that you come across, or the AI, or if you're playing PvP. So I want to get as close to Trinium as I can, because Trinium is what I am currently at. And you can see I have some Nanite, and I can use the Nanite. They still work well, but I want to use the Trinium. And I'm actually in an area with Xanion now. So I only have common level Xanion turrets right now. Most of my good stuff is still Trinium. And the rarity level applies to these. So if you have one that's exceptional, which is the gold color, it's going to be obviously considerably better than one that's rare or uncommon. So in general, you want to get the most rare type that you can of the best material that you can get, because you're going to get a lot more damage out of that, or more salvaging, or more mining capabilities. So what I want right now, which I don't have, oh, there's that quad cannon, but you know, you can look at this too. Let me pull these turrets back off so I can show you something else, because this ties right in with the rarity level. No, don't delete the block, delete the cannon. Okay, so let's look at this iron turret. It's an exceptional iron cannon. Let's look at a close cannon to that. Here is a double Nanite cannon. You can see that it's a rare versus the exceptional. So even though this iron cannon is made out of a lower quality material, because it's an exceptional, it still does more damage than the rare Nanite. Whereas this Trinium turret, let's find this Trinium cannon, 146.5 and a fire rate of 0.9 versus the double cannon. They're close. So the higher the rarity level, the more damage you can do. That's why I'm still using this iron cannon. So again, you want to get the highest rather quality of rarity that you can. So if you can get an exceptional, an exotic, or a legendary turret, that's what you want. So even if you get and this primarily applies to offensive turrets, even if you get a lower quality material but it's a higher rarity, that's what you want typically. That's why I've held on to the iron cannon for so long, as I said. Now the one difference there though is with salvaging and mining turrets, because the material becomes almost more important than the actual damage. So for example, this double iron salvaging turret that we have here, it's a common, so it's not going to do very good for us at the level of, it's a common iron, I mean, and it's not going to do very good for us at the level of harvesting Trinium or Xanion. And we also have, if I can find it here, that's my railgun. I love my railguns too. There we go. Trinium salvaging turret. So even though it's a common, as far as your salvaging and mining turrets go, the material level harvests the previous quality material faster. So a Trinium is going to harvest Nanite faster than a Nanite can harvest it. It will rip through titanium and iron, but it's going to be slower on Xanion. And then that progressively improves, so Xanion will harvest Trinium faster and rip through these, but a Trinium is going to have a really hard time with Augenite or Avorion. So when it comes to your salvaging turrets, you want to upgrade to the next material quality as soon as you can, because it's going to dramatically increase your salvaging and mining speed. So let's take a look at these bonuses over here again. Let's go ahead and put our cannons back on before I get into trouble in the sector here. Gotta have our cannons. And I guess while I'm doing that, let's talk about the different types. So as far as offensive cannons go, you start off with chain guns. You go from chain guns to bolters. Do I have any bolters? Yeah, a bolter, which is basically like a chain gun except slower and it overheats. You also have plasma turrets, lightning turrets, laser turrets, Tesla turrets, rail guns, There's all sorts of them, and you can actually even find those on the Avorion wiki. So if we go to Avorion, their wiki, I said their wiki. I should have had this pulled up sooner. My apologies. Come on. Tell you what, let me get this pulled up and I'll be right back. Okay, I finally got it to cooperate. So we have chain guns, bolters, plasma, laser, cannons, rocket launchers, Tesla turrets, lightning turrets, and rail guns. And I'll leave it to you to read the descriptions of these if you're interested, but chain guns are basically machine guns. Bolters are slower machine guns that overheat but have more punch. Plasma are energy weapons that don't overheat, but they use the energy from your ship and do more damage to shields. Lasers hit 100% of the time, use your energy, but are very close range, but help shred shields. Cannons are long range. They're not as accurate, but they are devastating on damage. Rocket launchers more powerful than cannons, but can miss easy and are slower. Some of them do have homing. Teslas are up close beams of electricity that do high DPS. They're very short range, and they also use your energy, and they don't overheat. Lightning, basically like Teslas, more powerful but can miss. And railguns are your long distance wallop cannons. These things pack a serious punch. As far as your unarmed go, mining lasers, salvaging lasers, force turrets, repair turrets. Uh-oh, am I getting attacked? Let's look. I'm not getting attacked, but that'll change in just a moment. So let's finish this up real quick. Mining lasers and salvaging lasers. Mining mines asteroids. Salvaging will salvage any wreckage around you. Force turrets push enemies away or pull enemies towards you. And repair turrets can help repair your shields, hull, or both. So let's get our cannons back on here and look at some of our firepower capabilities before I get bloated up. So let's find our launcher, our cannons, that cannon, get out of the way cannon, that cannon, this one, and wow, they're really going at it back there. Let's get this launcher. I had another good cannon. We'll get another launcher. Oh, wait. Oh, that's right. That's the other thing. In order to place turrets, you have to place them on the equivalent. So I can't place Xanion cannons until I put Xanion on my ship. Important consideration there. So let's just get the rest of our stuff here. Let's go for some plasma. Luckily I haven't aggroed those things yet. Put on a railgun. Another cannon. Oh, that's all of them. Okay, so once you have your turrets on, then you have to go into your ship's menu and assign them to fire groups. And all you have to do is click on it, tap the number key that you want it assigned to. So I put all my cannons on number 1. Put my railgun on number 2. My launchers on number 3. And my plasma on number 4. So, let's find some aliens here. Now, these guys are not aggressive yet, but they are the Zostan, and they're raiding this sector. So, let's show them what we're made of. There we go. Again, we shoot all the things with speed and conviction. You have to be careful with the launchers, because the launchers do area of effect damage, and if you destroy things near other ships or stations, that can damage them and you will take faction hits. Next. And you can see the flame symbols on my ship just means that the turrets are overheating. They aren't doing damage to my ship, I just cannot fire them again until they cool down. And those big orange globes that are firing from my ship, that's the launchers. Very slow, but when they hit, they hit. I'm going to have to get a better beat on this thing so that I don't shoot the friendlies. Oh, they got him. Next. It's right up there. But, speaking of turrets, when you are finished destroying a ship, as much as possible you want to get in and get the loot, because the loot will disappear fairly quickly. So even after I destroy a ship, if I see something that's an item drop, I go after it as soon as I can, assuming that I can get in and out of there pretty quickly. That way I don't miss that on a really good turret or module. So there you are. Are you the last one? No, there's one more. So he's 8K. I can hit him. But to get the most punch on him, I want to get a little closer. Now, if you like fighting up close and personal, you may want to use chain guns and bolters combined with something like lightning, laser, Tesla. Because up close and personal, you're going to want those energy weapons to help you drop shields faster. Because once the shields are down, then your chain guns, bolters can do the work to the hull. But they don't do very good on shields. But if you do that, you're also going to want a good hybrid of speed and shield strength and regeneration. Because once you get into some of these higher level ships, they hit you with lots and lots of lasers or lightning, and they will shred your shields. So you either need to be moving at a good clip to try to avoid their fire, or have some very strong shields. And I try to lag shoot with these cannons and railguns and whatnot. Try to lead into their path. Lasers are very, very effective. I like using lasers. I just prefer these cannons because I can hit at a good range and just tear them up without having to worry about my shields dropping too quickly. So that covers the basics of pure firepower. They have mentioned that in the wiki, I think at least I read that they're going to add a few more types of turrets, I think. But that's what we have available in the game at the moment. Now, as far as your salvaging and mining turrets, as I had mentioned before, I'm going to take off this plasma turret here and add back in a Trinium. Where are you? Trinium mining turret. And my Trinium salvaging turret. Now, another property that I want to talk about on these is the independent targeting. And this applies to most type of turrets. Independent targeting will allow you to change the fire mode on the turret. And if you have independent targeting, it does less damage, but it can track targets on its own when you set it to auto fire. And that's one thing that I really like on my salvaging turrets and mining turrets both. You have to make that decision if you want to make the compromise for the lack of damage. But for example, on this salvaging turret, I'm going to go down here and right click and click auto fire. Let's just turn these off and let's get near some salvage. There's some that's really close. Turn this puppy on and watch what happens. I'm not holding the mouse button. It's just going to work. And that saves you a lot of time holding down your left mouse button. Especially when you are going into an area where you have a lower quality material turret versus a higher quality. A good example here is this is a Xanion ship, and I'm hitting it with a Trinium turret. So it's doing about half the damage that this turret does to Trinium. But the last thing that I'm going to talk about that I really love is fighters. Especially salvaging fighters. So check this out. Look at that, all my little buddies going to work, shredding the ship into pieces. Fighters are great in this game. Fighters are tiny ship equivalents to turrets. And every one of these little fighters that you see is a ship. I can target one. And you can see down here, it's a ship. It's a ship that's built with a seed. And those fighters also have quality levels. So you can see I have some Nanite mining fighters. The same rules apply with quality. as does your turrets. And you can assign, I have 2 squads of salvaging fighters. So you can add up to 10 squads, and you can have 12 ships in each squad for a total of 120 fighters, assuming you have enough hangar space, which are what these are, to house them. And not only do you have to have the hangar space, you also have to hire pilots. So running fighters can be expensive, especially if you start losing them. But they're wonderful to have because it's effectively up to 120 extra tiny turrets. And once you have them swarming a target, they are extremely fast. So for example, if I were, you can see that I'm salvaging this piece right here, how slow it's going. If I put them on it, it's gone almost instantly. So I love fighters. They are great for mining and salvaging. If you want to use them for combat, you want a lot of them. You have to have a lot of fighters for combat because they will go down and they have to be able to take the target down very quickly. And you want the highest material quality versus the sector that you're in. So if you're in an area with Nanite, you want at least Nanite fighters. You don't want to come back with iron or titanium because they're going to go down pretty quickly because they're going to be hit with Nanite weapons. The other thing about fighters is you can sell them just like you can at a regular ship. You can sell them at scrapyards. And I got enemies coming in, so I'm going to tell my fighters to get back into their base so I don't lose them. And that's all you have to do. You have attack, defend, and return commands. And in order to access those, you just hold your shift button to unlock your mouse and click the icon for the squad. And the little arrow means they're returning to the bay. If you don't let them return to the bay and you take off without them, you're going to lose them. Plain and simple. You can buy fighters in the same locations that you can buy turrets. So the types, there's basically a fighter for I think every equivalent turret. I don't know if there's force fighters or not that do the same thing as a force turret. I don't recall. But I primarily use mining and salvaging fighters right now. At the current level of the game that I'm in right now, I have 1.5 million. So I could hire a lot of combat fighters if I wanted to. I just don't want to have to constantly be paying to replace the pilots and the fighters because that could add up very quickly. So I want to wait until I can afford some pretty high level fighters before I make that investment. Oh, don't fly in front of me. You're gonna anyway. I should shoot your friend then. You can see that orange lightning. That's a Xanion Tesla, I think. Teslas are pretty focused, whereas lightning looks like it's all over the place. They both hurt a lot, though. So again, fighters. I love using fighters. I have been personally hiring those instead of buying additional ships. My friend Velks that I play with, he typically runs a small fleet of ships, and that works out well for him. I have been primarily focused on my ship for the time being, but you know, to each their own. I haven't had a rebuy. That's an Elite Dangerous term. I haven't had to replace or rebuild this ship yet. I know it's coming. But I've been pretty successful so far with the current level of firepower. And that's the other thing we need to talk about in regards to turrets is firepower. So if we look at our turrets, you can see the damage per second depending on what the type of turret is. Cannons just show damage and fire rate. Your chain guns typically show damage per second, I think. Oh no, I've got one. Let's see. Chain gun, yep. Oh no. I'm telling you wrong. I saw damage per second on one of these. At any rate, that damage value, all those combined from your turrets, totals up to your ship's Omicron rating, your firepower. So my firepower right now is 3,460 Omicron. So the more turrets you add, the higher that value gets. Now, don't let that number going lower scare you if you're changing turret types. Part of the reason that I have such a high Omicron right now is because of those launchers. If I change those launchers out into plasmas, it would cut my Omicron by about a 30 to 40% rate. However, the plasma turrets are going to hit more often than the launchers with the way that I'm flying this ship. So lower Omicron doesn't always mean bad. It just means that if all your weapons hit at the same time, you're not going to do as much damage, but that's the key. They got to hit. So if you're trying to fire chain guns from 10K range, you're not going to hit anything. So it's all about how you're using your ship. Look at that laser going to work on that thing. I love it. Let's send our fighters back out. And watch them swarm. Fly, my pretties, fly. And the other thing that you can do if you have mining ships is send them out to mine. So right down there is an asteroid. I lost some pilots recently. So there goes my little mining ships, off to do their job. Now I normally don't do that. I don't send them 15K away. They will do it at that range, but I don't like to be that far away from my fighters. I like to be able to scoop them up very quickly if something happens. Now where did my... Did I lose them? I'm going to have to go back and review my video footage because I don't see them now. That could be a bug because I saw the arrows. I bet you they got shot down. I didn't notice it while I was talking. That's okay. I was planning on replacing them anyway if that happened, because I am now in Xanion territory and they were primarily Nanite. What I hate is the fact that I lost the pilots. Oh no, there they are. They were off doing their happy little job over there, still where I told them to go. Okay, good. My main concern there was having to pay for them because I had planned on selling them. It wouldn't be a big deal if they got shot down. Aside from the pilots, I really didn't want to lose the pilots. So that will about wrap it up for this episode of Turret Talk. Hope you enjoyed it. If so, please remember to share the video with others that you think may enjoy it. And again, if you want to help support the channel, please check out the link to my Patreon in the video description. And we'll see you in the next one.